Hello, and welcome to Learning Science by Learning Engineering by being an engineer. In this video, we are going to explore how and why scientists and engineers define problems and design solutions. Wait a minute, I thought this was all about science and scientists. What are we doing talking about engineering and engineers? Well, it turns out that science and engineering have a lot in common, starting with the steps of the design process. Engineering is the application of the concepts learned in science to help solve problems and meet needs. The way engineers go about doing this is a lot like the way scientists carry out investigations to collect data to answer their questions. Where scientists ask questions, engineers define problems that need to be solved. This includes not only figuring out what the problem or need is, but also figuring out all of the details about the problem that they will need to know about in order to design a solution. For example, the engineer would start by defining this problem related to the water pollution. But then, before she can try to solve it, she would need to figure out some more things about that problem. Just like scientists obtain information as background research for the questions they are trying to answer, engineers need to research to obtain information about these details in order to come up with a plan for a solution to the problem. And just like how scientists plan an experiment to test a hypothesis, once the engineer has researched the problem, she is ready to figure out a possible solution to the problem based on the information she has learned about the nature of the problem. This might include designing a new device or coming up with a way to change how something is done. Because she has learned all about the science behind erosion, the engineer has applied her understanding of the science and designed a solution that involves planting rows of vegetation along the sides of fields where the plant's roots can help hold the soil in place and also help slow the speed of the runoff. Remember when we learned about models and how scientists use them to test ideas and represent different concepts? We also said that engineers use models as a way to develop and test solutions. One of the ways that an engineer will test her proposed design is to make a prototype model that she can test and modify and test again. When a scientist is ready to find an answer to their question, they plan and carry out their tests. Before implementing a solution, when an engineer is ready to figure out if her proposed solution will work, she plans and carries out a test to see if her solution works the way she thinks it will. To test her solution, the engineer tests different types of plants to see which one will be best at slowing down the rate of erosion. Just like scientists use their investigation to generate data that they can analyze and interpret, engineers run tests on their prototype models and proposed solutions in order to collect data to evaluate the effectiveness of their designs. When testing her design, the engineer collects the water samples after they have passed through her prototype tests. She then analyzes these samples to determine how much sediment washed through her prototypes by comparing the appearance of the water samples and measuring the mass of the sediment that collected in the water. And just like a scientist who uses her results as evidence to support claims and construct explanations, engineers use the results of their tests to evaluate the effectiveness of their design to see if it works or to make changes and retest if necessary. And just like scientists, once an engineer has determined from the results of her test that her design and solution will work to solve the problem or meet the need, she communicates those results to show how and why her solution works. For example, once she has used the results of her sediment tests to determine the best way to use plants to reduce the impact of soil erosion on streams, the engineer can communicate those results to the impacted communities and to the farmers who use the fields and work with them to implement her design solution to prevent sediment runoff from harming a local ecosystem. So there you have it. Scientists and engineers do many of the same things, from running tests and collecting data to developing models and communicating information. The key difference is why. Scientists ask questions and search for answers. Engineers apply the knowledge of science to define problems and design solutions, all to try and make the world a better place. Thanks for watching. Come back soon to watch more videos about what scientists do. And remember, the best way to learn science is to be a scientist, and that means doing what scientists and engineers do.